these are architectural fragments of second shrines. We're going to see that were built against the big cave that is right there. You can see the water flowing. You can see the water flowing below it. And just before you go, I want you to understand what the whole site looked like in antiquity. Okay, here is that cave. Here is that cave before the excavation. Could barely get in. This cave apparently was a cultic cave, but with the earthquakes, parts of the ceiling collapsed. The building in front of it collapsed. Yet excavation exposed what you're going to see now.
Excuse me.
It's very low. I was here in the spring when it was completely full and running like waterfall. This is one of the sources of the Jordan is coming from the mountain home. With the sign back there too.
Daddy said there was snow here.
In the mountains, this is the snow melt.
No, it was coming up back through the vegetation.
Please, we're short in time.
You're all chatting, I haven't heard you.
Beautiful. Look at the temple.
The water's great.
Oh yeah, I mean the stream.
Yeah, it was roaring the last time we were out there. So low and so quiet.
Okay, look at the niche over here. This whole built-up area, Ehud Netzer, it was suggested that this is a building that we know Herod built in Caesarea Philippi. And it is still called Panion. It was a building to boast to the emperors as usual, and here he made a temple for Augustus. Ehud Netzer then found a building right around the corner there with an architectural element called opus reticulatum, which was only used from the time of Herod Annan and mostly just by him. And he suggested that the Augusteum is really the building over there. Another American team who dug in a site not too far from here called Kirbet Omrit, and they also found the first century temple, and they argue that is the Augusteum made in honor of the emperor. Is that show open? I don't remember the name, but it's an American team. Okay, so you can choose 3 options for that site. There's scholarly debate over it. But I think this is still the leading candidate among most scholars. It's built right against the most famous cave, the cave gave sanctity to this area to begin with. So I argue this is where the god Pan dwelt. And they must have thrown offerings, or presented offerings at this place, but the ceiling collapsed. I showed you the picture before the excavations. The rocks covered more. Excavations of the 80s and 90s cleaned some of the cave, but they didn't reach the bottom. They found architectural fragments of Pan, of Aphrodite, of Zeus. A very interesting collection of architectural and sculptural fragments. I don't know why they never got all the way to the bottom. There is more potential. Maybe the best stuff is at the very bottom. Still waiting to be found. Over there.
Sculptures of the gods would be in these little niches. Niches.
The third one, no facing how to place it, but it should be somewhere around.
Collapsed here. Let's see where it collapsed.
Well, I think the floor's down there, see? That's the marble floor.
Finding it here is still in the same region, but you also have in Spain inscriptions praising Zeus of Heliopolis. I argue that all of this is based on an Iturean religion that the Romans followed, and so this is a descendant of the Iturean religion, which I argue can be found also on their coins. It's something rather personal for me, out of my studies of the Iturean.
Zeus and
Now, Diana and Apollo.
Three big ones.
Yeah. But on the coins, they don't appear in such a clear manner. And in any case, for the Itureans, it was just representing something Semitic. Okay, but what was it?
Inscription.
INR, this is a numismatic, INJ, this is a numismatic journal presents my theory.
So that's not.
Is maybe the thing that is maybe the one mentioned in the in Luke.
Talks about this.
The Samius Theory.
They mention the Old Testament as one of the people
They mention it as the general people.
of the north.
Yeah. Dio Cassius, Josephus, Julius, who do you say I am? Simon Peter. It really should say Shimon Yonah answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of living God." It's the first time that Simon said so, and in reply, Jesus answered, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah. For this was not revealed to you by men, by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and not the gates of Hades, and the gates of Hades will not overcome." Two interesting notes. For one thing, you have here a play on words that cannot be understood in English. You have to read the original Greek. What does Peter mean?
Rock.
Rock. The city of the Nabateans, Petra, means the city of rock. And indeed, it's all carved in the rock. What he was doing is a play on words, saying, you are no longer Shimon. He gave him a Greek name. You are Peter, but he said it in Greek. So he also said, you are rock. And on this rock, on you, meaning on your personality, I will build my church, and not the to this area, which now you see just how pagan it is. Because it was so pagan. And let me suggest beyond this point, maybe he even wanted to demonstrate. Okay, I argue that when he said a city that is on a hill cannot be hidden, when he said that on the Sermon on the Mount, he pointed also to a city when doing so. I argue he was pointing to Susita, which is on a hilltop, or he could have pointed to Gamla. When he said the gates of Hades will not overcome it, maybe he pointed to what represents Hades, the abyss. Where do you see an abyss? At the bottom of this cave. Okay, so here we have possible geographical, tangible links to this story, although it's just a statement. You know, there's no synagogue mentioned, there's nothing, no building. But perhaps this was demonstrated, he actually pointed to this when he finished that sentence. Can you rule out that possibility? You cannot. So maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's an interesting match. If you think about this, I can definitely find it together with the internet.